What's going on, y'all? This your boy Teddy Blackman. I'm back with another recap review video. Anyways, last week we did season 7, episode 1 of Rick and Morty, and so today we're gonna do episode 2. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen the episode. Spoiler alert. But this episode was much more better in my opinion. Very entertaining. I guess maybe last weekend was the season opener, so they didn't want to give us too much. Maybe they'll reveal a full episode of Rick and Morty having new voices was just to get everybody acclimated, so it wasn't too much going on. This episode was hilarious and funny. It didn't tie into the storyline like neither did last episode, but this was much more entertaining to make you overlook that it didn't tie into the storyline. So it's an episode where the next door neighbor Gene has stolen Jerry's rake, and Jerry comes in and asks Rick could he help him out with that, and so basically they get into an argument about Jerry gets mad at Rick because he doesn't want to help him, and he's saying he wastes his brain, and they get into an argument, blah blah blah. So they end up doing this stick similar to Freaky Friday, in which instead of switching bodies, they switch brains or whatever, or consciousness, and basically Rick becomes Jerry and Jerry becomes Rick. So within the first within the first 20 seconds, neither one of them could take the other person's lifestyle, so they kill each other. Basically, they kill themselves. Basically, and so the garage ends up trying to piece them back together, but instead of piecing them back together fully, she pieces back half Jerry and half Rick for each body. So now they're basically hybrids of themselves or whatever. And, I'm not going to go through the whole episode, blah, 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 blah. But, fast forward, they each, Morty, because Morty gets into a situation, they stop beefing with each other and they start coming together. And then they realize, like, they don't really need anybody because obviously Rick's the smartest man in a universe, and Jerry has half of Rick's brain now. So now he's probably the second smartest or something like that, how it works out. And so they they just want to live. They start pulling these heists. They become villains basically, and they're robbing like the mob and the crew and all the gangsters and stuff, stealing and all this type of stuff, getting away with it. And then of course, because their family gets in trouble again, they end up coming together again, but this time in the form of Jariki. And this is crazy. Now this I do have an opinion about Jariki. Now Jariki was a hybrid with a Jerry head, a Rick head, and then their bodies like meshed together. You know what I'm saying? And looks like I don't know how you would describe that. Maybe like some type of scorpion type build or something like that. Praying mantis type build or something like that. But anyways, um, unethical powers. You know what I'm saying? And so now that leads me to maybe have an opinion on whenever they do come across like Rick Prime or something like that, that they always have this kind of thing in their back pocket where maybe he can combine with the whole family and become an invincible, unstoppable like force or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that was pretty dope and pretty smooth. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, I felt like this was a really hilarious episode, and a really, I guess they try to throw a little life lesson up in there, which they don't normally do. It's a adult type of cartoon, so it's just comedy for the most part, but a little life lesson up in there, like, you just be happy with what you got, appreciate your family and stuff like that. But nah, this episode was much more like better in my opinion. And I'm not sure how many episodes in the season. I'm gonna guess like maybe 10, because that seems to be like the norm for each season is 10 episodes. Um, so I'm anxiously awaiting them to get back into the storyline of Rick chasing Rick Prime. And even though they didn't do it this week, this week's episode was super entertaining. Excuse me. So hats off to them. It was well written. It was comedic. It was had this very serious moment. This was, in my opinion, I know it's kind of too soon to say it. It just came out. But this, in my opinion, was a classic Rick and Morty episode. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Rick and Jerry have like these episodes where they kind of got to work together, or it's an episode that's centered around them, you normally get some of this zany, wacky, cohesion from them. And this episode took that times five and gave us that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to episode three. And I know I left out, like I said, I left out quite a bit. I didn't want to run through the whole entire episode, you know what I'm saying? But if y'all want to do that, y'all could drop comments. How do you feel about this? Like, comment, subscribe, share. Really appreciate y'all for tuning into these Jones. The views is climbing on these type of videos, so it's gonna be a process. But yeah, I'm Teddy B. Blackman, and I'm out.